Okay, I am filming in the day, which means you might hear my vacuum in the background, so forgive me if you do. Welcome, everybody. It is a new week. So good to have you at the drill instructor. I've been thinking about changing that name because, quite frankly, I don't know. It feels like there's only so many instructions one can give, and we may have, in my first 6 months, kind of tackled everything. So we'll just have to figure that out. Anyway, it's a new week. All the things that I've had lined up for the next week or two, and that means watching trial, surprisingly wrapped up in the defense resting without putting one witness on the stand. Blows my mind. So I won't give any spoilers as to what the jury found. So go find that. I did have a great discussion with my bestie about it. She knows that I love watching trials. I was, of course, loving this one even more. Let me move this a little this way so you can see everything I'm doing. We're working on the color number F, which is this. So I've finished the middle of the flower. We are making a little bit of progress. Anyway, I was talking to her about this trial when we were at lunch, because we have done that every Monday for, I don't know, almost 2 decades now. Every week is lunch with my bestie. And I was like, this one is local. I feel like you should be watching this one. She is amazing. She exercises more in a day than I probably do in a whole year. She is inspiring with her journey with, let's just say, her body overall, and it is something that I could never, I don't feel like I could ever do. I'm sure at one point she also felt like it was something she would never be able to do, but thanks to an incredible trainer who changed her life, she is now teaching CrossFit, and it's amazing. Anyway, as we were talking at lunch, she thought, oh, this sounds really interesting, because apparently I took the entire lunchtime talking about it. And so I sent her a link to the YouTuber I watch, and she has been listening the whole time. I cannot believe how much ground she has covered. But I'm with her. Like, this is fascinating stuff. And once you start, you kind of can't stop. And the YouTuber, Emily D. Baker, I feel like I've probably mentioned her every week, very entertaining, insightful. So I feel like I have learned a lot as well. Hang on, gotta get a little more wax on the tip of this one. I'm using the same pen that I used a couple weeks ago. This is a Muni Made pen and tips. So I have to remember, when I'm not using the Diamond Art Club pen, I actually have to regularly replenish with wax. Anyway, it's just so incredible. So yeah, I thought all of my afternoons, evenings would be filled with listening to court. That is not the case. So I gotta find something else to do, something else to listen to. We've Olympicked here. We've listened to a couple trials. Yeah, if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear those sorts of things that you enjoy doing when you hobby. Doesn't necessarily have to be diamond art, but just hobbying in general. What do you listen to? Do you visit with people? Do you watch YouTube videos? I say watch very loosely because, you know, this hobby requires you pretty much to look here. So looking up isn't really possible. I don't know, maybe there are people who would be considered experts who can do that at the same time. I, however, cannot. I need to be looking down while I'm doing it, which quite frankly limits the amount of things you can watch, and it's why a lot of diamond artists do audiobooks, because that you can absolutely just put in your earbuds and dot away. I tend to have TV shows that I have seen many times going in the background, so I don't have to try to follow a plot. I have, like I said, the trials, which slows me down when you have to look at exhibits and stuff, but quite honestly, a lot of that is just listening anyway. So I don't listen to a lot of audiobooks. I've had a really hard time getting my brain to stay on task, which is honestly one of the reasons I like diamond art, is it has helped me center my brain. I actually, if I'm in a place where it's not obvious I'm in a meeting and can be joining without video or without having to take notes, I do pay attention better if I'm doing this at the same time. I don't know, I'm sure there's some scientific reason, but it does help me a lot. So maybe it is time to give audiobooks another try. Oops, one went flying. Because podcasts, absolutely. That is, I'm just going to say, a no-brainer. I can do that at the same time, thoroughly enjoy it. So, yeah, time to kind of take a next step and see if I can do an audiobook. So if that is the case, do you have any audiobooks you would suggest? I was a big fan of, I think it's Charlene. I think that's her name. Charlene Harris. Maybe it's Charlotte. I think it's Charlene. She did the True Blood, the Sookie Stackhouse series, along with many others, the Aurora Tea Garden. When I was at home momming and we would go to the library, that was always the books I got, were a lot of those. So I may have to see if she's put out anything new. I probably haven't listened to one of her books in 10 years, so she may not have. And see what's going on there. I know Brandon Sanderson is pretty popular, especially in and amongst my family. I don't know. I'm not a huge fantasy girly. I had a really hard time with Lord of the Rings because it felt like there were so many characters and kingdoms, and they all seemed to start with the letter A, which did not help me at all. On our road trip vacation last year, we did listen to the first book, Fellowship of the Ring. I think we started the second book, and I got to a point where I was like, okay, I think I'm not done, but I definitely needed a break. That was a lot in what felt like a short span of time. So maybe as we hit the road, we have to decide what we're doing this year. But maybe as I do that, I'll be ready for book 2 or finishing book 2. I think my husband went on and finished it. I don't even know how many times he has listened to The Lord of the Rings. Probably almost 100, I would guess. I, of course, hear a lot about, is it Adguitar? I think it's A Court of Thorns and Roses. I had to go through it in my head and say, okay, if that's the acronym, then which one comes first? Don't know anything about those. I will, okay, so in all fairness, I realize that Twilight is ridiculous. It's not considered a great novel. I got a total kick out of it. I am all about a good summer trash novel. Obviously, trash being Twilight and not something like 50 Shades of Grey. Haven't read that. So, just a good, fun summer novel. I love that stuff. I read, of course, all the Harry Potter books. Oh, actually, now that I say that, I know that Audible has re-released them with a totally new cast. And I started listening to that and was really, really, really impressed. So I may do that. That might be my next step. I've got a cruise coming up next month. This will be my very first time pre-recording things and then scheduling. I did that last week. I don't know if I had mentioned that, because I was having so many issues with trying to upload on Friday nights. Inevitably, it feels like there is a problem with YouTube right when I am trying to upload. And this series is called Friday Night Drills, and they weren't showing up until Saturday, which, I don't know, feels like a problem. Feels like I'm selling a lie before I've even done anything. So last week, I recorded, it might have been just right on Monday, but I was like, oh yeah, the recording's already done. Don't have to worry about it. And then it was all of a sudden Thursday. I realized I was going to have to be subbing in the temple on Friday night. And then cute grandbaby, of course, now we have a standing date. And I was going to be spending time with her as well. So, of course, I'm doing it Thursday night and was having issues getting it to upload and thought, this is just, I don't know. It's something about me. Maybe I'm old. Maybe it's a sign. Maybe it's saying, woman, you have other things to do. I really couldn't tell you. So here it is. It is Tuesday. I once again am subbing in the temple on Friday night. And so I need to get this all uploaded, scheduled, all the things. So this is just really great practice for the cruise. Anyway, that was a big circle. And I will have to make sure. Well, now I'm wondering, do I not want to listen to those until I'm on the cruise? Because I don't want to fly through all the books and then have nothing to listen to. But yeah, my Audible library is laughing at me saying, lady, you have so many books in here. You're not going to run out of things. But on a cruise ship, like, I'm going to have everything downloaded so I can listen, because I am not paying a fortune for internet on a ship. But yeah, that's coming up. Grandbaby, beautiful, wonderful. Everything. I would do anything, everything, all the things for her. Has brought such joy into our family. It is, I don't even know. Words do not describe. But yeah, she is sunshine and all of it. She has my heart. In fact, as I'm talking about subbing at the temple, yeah, we made the decision to give our service notice. We've been volunteering there on Saturday afternoons for almost 2.5 years now. And I think we feel like it is time. We can always come back to it. Hopefully there will be space for us. I feel like there will always be room on the Saturday afternoon shift. I would think it would, times wouldn't change that much, and it will still continue to be the most difficult one to staff. But yeah, it's something I didn't think I would be at peace with, and shockingly, once we made the decision, I was really at peace. Plus, when we were preparing, we have a meeting at the start of each shift. This is the first time ever. When I've subbed on other shifts, this has happened. I've never seen it on ours. There were not enough chairs for the workers. And that, I know we don't ask for signs, we don't expect signs, we don't rely on them. That was a sign to me that it was okay. That there are other people who will step in. And I went through that with PTA as well. There was this group of us who were so devoted to it for years. We essentially just rotated who was going to be the president, I was like, the vice president, the treasurer, all those things. We honestly just rotated every year. And then our kids were done. And we were like, we have to walk away from this. And magically, new parents appear. And so we just kind of have to trust that whole thing. Ooh, those are big sneezes from downstairs. So, okay, we made it through that color. How are we doing on time? All right. Okay, let's see. What are we going to do next? These get really tricky. We know I've talked about this every week. I need to find colors that don't look like the other ones because it's so easy to just mix them up. Got a nice stack over here of what is finished, and as we can see here, that you'll never guess, this will be that last one. So let's go with K, which is 19. Okay, 19. Ooh, that's another pretty one. Very close to what we just did. Here are the two together. So I just have to remember if I did mix them up. Well, they're pretty close anyway. It'll be just fine. Okay. What other things? Oh, we're gonna talk about the weather. So I've mentioned before, I'm in Utah. I turned the air conditioner on in the car today. It is March, folks. On the East Coast, I believe there is a blizzard going on. People were talking about getting a foot of snow. We turned on the air conditioning. All the trees have blossomed and bloomed. And yeah, we are going to be in record high temperatures. In southern Utah, it is going to be in the 90s. Um, I don't even, I'm not ready for that. I think when we scheduled, hang on, I'm going to double check something. Is that an R? Yep, I've got R's and K's that look very similar, so I'm just going to have to be careful. As we planned this cruise, we were thinking it would be so nice to have this getaway, do something warm, get a tan, get some sun. I did not think I would be going from sun to sun. I probably could have a tan before we even get on the ship. That is not at all what I expected. So I was able to go shopping with one of the women going with me. She's pretty much the one who organized it all, my coworker, my twin. And she asked if I would help her pick out or find some white tops. We are planning on doing one of the parties on board, all white clothing, and so did that. I think we were successful. We found her a few options, a few tops. She already had pants, and I ended up walking out with way more than I needed. Only one of which was white. The rest were very colorful, but I finally used the gift card my husband gave me for Christmas. I've lost quite a bit of weight, and these are now some dresses that fit me better. I've still been, excuse me, wearing everything. I'm hesitant to get rid of anything because I feel like the weight will probably just come back on. So I thought, okay, this is just going to be kind of a gift to get me through this little period of time. It will be fun to wear on the cruise for sure. Some dang cute outfits. And yeah, that was great. So I got to do that last night. Hang on, I gotta tighten. So one thing, this tends to get loose. I don't know. I've been having issues with my my Diamond Art Club pen, where I'm using all the things supplied by them, the tips, the pen, the wax, the putty, and I'm having a lot of problems with the tip not staying screwed in, and this is for the multi-placer end. I don't know what is going on. I know they have lifetime warranties for canvases. I don't know if they do for their supplies. So I may need to reach out to them and say, hey, I'm having this problem. I had one of my pens, it's their glitter pen, one of the ones I probably use here all the time if I'm not using this one, broke. I was just tightening the tip, and I just heard a little bit of a crack, and it wouldn't screw in anymore. So I don't know if it's where the threads were. I mean, it's got to be. So I don't know if that's something I can also say, hey, do you have lifetime warranties on these things? I was so surprised and so sad. And so I'll just have to check with them. Anyway, you know, the things we go through, the dramas, all part of life. But yeah, so weather, all the way back to that. I don't know what you are experiencing. I can't tell. That's an R, okay. But we are certainly, I'm worried we are going to have a super hot summer. I do not like hot. To me, perfection. Have I talked about this before? I don't know. Perfect weather is 60 degrees, maybe 65. When it approaches 70, that is too hot for me. We are going to be in the 70s, approaching the 80s this weekend. That is miserable. If I was in southern Utah, as I said, they're looking at, you know, high 90s already. No, thank you. I'm guessing people are like, yeah, we're done with winter. I'm like, I would like to have a winter. Anyway, okay, you guys, we are slowly making progress on this. I feel like this, between this and the Rainbow Stormtrooper, you're like, we are never going to make any progress on anything. But that wasn't my goal here. My goal, honestly, is no FOMO. I don't want anybody to feel like, oh, that's a canvas I'll never get, or getting things for free, or things like that. That I don't plan on that. See, still don't know if that's a K or an R. This is just to hang out and talk. So I guess when it all comes down to it, the canvas is secondary. It's just what I'm sticking the drills on, and it could be anything. I could be sitting here actually under my desk right here. I keep thinking I'm going to do a temperature project. Maybe this is the year. It would be like, there's no cold. So I could be working on that and doing absolutely nothing, and that would be okay because we're just hanging out and chatting anyway. Well, thank you for joining me with my stream of consciousness. I hope you had a great week. I want to hear what you do while you craft. What do you watch? What do you listen to? Recommend some things. Totally open to it. Let's see if I can get my brain back into a listening and being able to focus sort of mode. Thanks for joining this Friday night drills. It is happening in the afternoon. Great to spend time with you. Until next time. Bye.